Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Indy. I am a family nurse practitioner, and if you followed us for a while or if you've noticed, our channel name has changed. And the reason why that is because we want to envelop everything that has to do with health. So it's a hub, whether it's healthy living, wellness, chronic illnesses, everything that has to do with health. Another thing that God has laid on my heart to do is a podcast mainly about miracles that has happened in the healthcare space. So if you know somebody from God in the healthcare space, or if you're a witness of a great miracle in the healthcare space of someone that probably people had given hope on, and there was a great turnaround that can only be God. God wants those, He wants those interviews, He wants those stories to come out to the world so that the world can know that He is also in the healthcare market space. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about the mistakes that I made opening a business so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. I've always said in the past that experience is the best teacher, but you don't have to experience that if you know somebody that has already gone through the path. And I can tell you that I'm one of those people that was, we're always trying to do things, trying to figure it all out. But I've come to the realization that the path that you're walking on, there are other people that have walked that path. And honestly, you don't have to do it all alone. You can ask for help. You can ask somebody that has gone through that path, that has had that experience to help you. I'm going to start from the very basic, the business name. The very first mistake I made was related to the business name. Everything that I do, I ask God, because first of all, He called me into this. I didn't want to do it. So I was like, okay, you called me into this. What would be the foundation of this business? What are you trying to call me to do? I went into a place of prayer and I was praying about it, and He called out the name for the business, and He said, Zion. It will be a place of deliverance. People will come to receive deliverance, not only physically but spiritually too. I was like, oh, Zion. And at this point, He had given me the name, He gave me the logo, and He gave me the mission statement of the business. So I wrote them down. He gave me the logo. It was a picture of a mountain. I was like, okay, great. So I wrote it down, but I wanted to put a twist to it. I didn't want it to just be plain Zion, Z-I-O-N. So of course I went to research and looked for Zion in Hebrew, and that's how we came to this particular way of spelling out Zion. It is still Zion, but the T is silent. I wanted people to know how to pronounce it. So even though I wrote T-S-I-Y-Y-O-N, I did put Zion, Z-I-O-N, in bracket when I got the business name, so that when people see it, they see the Zion, they're like, oh, that's how you say it. It wasn't my job to teach people how to say it. And honestly, there are people that already know how to say it. I've come across people that already know how to say it. I've come across a lot of people that say, how do you say it? But so I did that, and it's Zion Primary Care and Wellness Center, LLC. Now, when I went to apply for my EIN number, I had no idea that the name has to match everything. So when I went to apply for the EIN, I just put Zion Primary Care, and I cut the EIN. So fast forward, because I don't want to make this video too long, fast forward to the point where I needed to get credentialed, right? And meanwhile, for 6 months, if you guys follow the channel, some of you might know that I was looking for a space. It took me about 6 months to find a space. In this space of 6 months, honestly, this could have been fixed, but again, I had no clue, right? So when it was time, when I finally got a space, and I said, oh, we need to start credentialing. So I got somebody I paid, I got into a contract. I said, okay, I need credentialing, blah, blah, blah. They said, submit your documents. I submitted everything that I needed to submit. And first of all, they kept my stuff for like 2 months. They did not start the process, right? So by the time they wanted to, because even that time, if they had started the process, we would have caught the mistake on time, but they too, on their part, they took the stuff, they collected the stuff from me, and I'm thinking, oh, I've paid somebody, I've gotten somebody to do credentialing for me, I'm good. And then 2 months later, they said, oh, there's a problem because Medicaid is not going to approve you because the name of the business does not match the name on the EIN. I'm like, whatever does that mean? Because it's still Zion Primary Care. They're like, yeah, we understand that it's Zion Primary Care, but it has to match, everything has to match exactly the same. I was like, oh my God. So what do I do? They say, oh, go to your bank, get a letter. We'll send the letter to Medicaid and say, oh, this is, what is going on. Yes, it is, because it has to match your check. It has to match your EIN. It has to match your business name. Everything has to match. So I now went to my bank, collected the letter, sent them the letter, and the check actually matched exactly the business name, because of course the bank took the business documentation from me and they matched the name. So, and then here we go again. I guess they took the stuff and then they waited for a while, and I was calling them, and now called them. I said, what is going on? You guys are not telling me what is happening. They're like, oh, we cannot do it because blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then I called Medicaid. Medicaid is actually the people that told me that I need to call IRS. I need to get the name corrected. It takes about 90 days, 30 to 90 days to have this fixed. I was like, oh my God, could have been fixed. The whole 6 months I was home looking for a space. But again, I did not know this. So I now called them. I said, oh, I called IRS. They said that, I called Medicaid. Medicaid gave the suggestion that I needed to write a letter. They told me, they gave me the address. They said I have to write a letter and mail it to IRS. They gave me the address in Kansas City, and they told me I needed to mail this letter. I needed to add my business documentation, official documentation from the state, and say and write there that I'm the business owner, that I made a mistake, and I did not write the full name of the business when I got the EIN, and I need it to be corrected so that my EIN letter can reflect the business name. It can match. So I said, okay. So I called them. I said, they're like, oh, IRS is going to take so long. We just want you. Oh, they told me to go and do business as, go back to the state and fill out to fill out the form to do business as my original business name so that it will match, So I was like, I'm so confused. I'm like, so you want me to go back and fill out a form and as doing business as name. But when I tried to do that, they said, oh, this business already exists. You can't do that. I'm like, okay, if you're telling me to do doing business as to match the name on the EIN letter, it makes sense. But you're telling me to do business as my original name, that doesn't make sense. They're like, because if you do business as the name on the EIN letter, that is not your official legal business name. Your legal business name is this other one. It was so confusing. So, but anyway, they just dumped my stuff. They figured, I guess they thought that there was no way out, and they weren't forthcoming with me. So they basically just dumped my stuff for weeks. So later on, I called them and I said, you know what, you guys are not helpful. I got myself stuck in this thing, and it doesn't look like you guys even want to help me. So it's okay. You guys can just forget about it, because they weren't helping. They weren't calling. They weren't even trying. They sounded frustrated, like, there's no way out, and they didn't want to be bothered with the issue. Basically, that's how they sounded. So I said, okay. So I just I went back to God and I just prayed about it. I said, Lord, I don't know what to do now. I've got this place. I'm stuck. I can't get credentialing. I can't move forward. They said they can't move forward with credentialing because it's going to be a waste of time, blah, 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 with Medicare and Medicaid. I said, okay, can you at least, they said, okay, commercial is not a problem. I said, okay, can you at least start the commercial? We have to do everything together. It was just like, so I just like, you know what? I sent the letter to the IRS. I decided to follow what Medicaid said because I figured they've been doing this for a while. They know how this works. They said, oh, I'm so sorry. They told me you need to get a group NPI. First of all, you can't use your personal NPI to apply for Medicaid as a business. These people never even told me to get a group NPI. So I got all this information from Medicaid. So I now got a NPI number, group NPI number. I talked to a friend. She recommended another company for me to use. So when I went to that company, they basically said the same thing. We have to wait for an IRS letter. Those ones even told me, oh, don't get the group NPI yet. You have to wait for the IRS letter to come, blah, 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 blah. I was like, forget this. I went and got the NPI number and I started applying for commercial insurance myself. And I actually got 2 cleared. I made a mistake in one. That's another story. But I actually got 3 that was approved. So those were the ones that I actually had. It was Care First, Cigna, and Aetna. I did those myself, and I tried doing Medicare and Medicaid myself, and of course they rejected it. They said, oh, the business name does not match. The person that was handling myself in Medicare, she was like, there's no point in submitting your stuff because they're going to kick it right back out. This is what is going on. You need to get the letter. Once you get the letter, let me know. Everything you have is correct except for this paper. I was like, oh my God, I wish I knew. Everything has to match. Okay. So I was doing this job of calling IRS every single morning to say, oh, I'm calling to see if my EIN letter has been updated. They're like, how long has it been? I said 2 weeks. They said, oh, it's too early. Oh, it's not gonna be approved now because it takes about 30. I'm like, I don't care. Why does it have to take 90 days? Like, mine has to be different. Mine has to be different. So I was calling them every morning. I'll skip like 2 days and then I'll call back again. And some of them were so annoying because they will now try to collect extra information from you, and at the end of the day it's the same story. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not been updated yet, call back. I'm like, why are you trying to get all this extra information that nobody else gets from me for you to come back and tell me the same thing? They will even put you on phone. Hold on, let me look. Oh my God. When it was almost 30 days, I think it was like maybe 28 days or something, one morning, right, I just decided to call again. I'm like, you know what, let me just call these people again. And honestly, I was so frustrated. I was kind of a little rude to the person that picked up the phone because I thought they were going to do the same thing, get all this information, your name, your EIN number, and all of this. And then at the end of the day, they will say, oh, sorry, it's not been updated. So I was kind of a little frustrated and a bit rude to this person. So she was like, oh, what is your EIN number, blah, blah, blah. So I just said Zion Primary. I didn't even tell her the full thing. I didn't want to go through the stress of telling the whole story. And now you tell me, oh, sorry, oh, it's not been updated. I'm like, I don't have the energy for this. So I gave her the basic information. She said, okay, because I'm going to fix it right now for you. I was like, whoa. Excuse me, what did you say? She said, oh, I can update it right now and send it to you. I'll fax it over to you. I was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I've been rude to you because I've been frustrated. I was thinking you're going to be just like everybody else and tell me you can't do it. I have to wait. I have to call back. I didn't tell you the full name. This is actually the full name. This is actually how I want it to show because it has to match my business name. So she was like, okay. She was very nice. She was just like, okay. So she was very patient on the phone. So I gave her the full name. I said, Zion, with Z-I-O-N in brackets. Well, they can't really do brackets, so they do hyphen. Primary Care and Wellness Center, LLC. So she was like, okay. So she typed it down, and then she waited for me and said, okay, this is what I wrote down. She repeated everything with the spelling, and then she said, where do you want me to fax this to? I thought I was in a dream, honestly. So I told her, oh, fax it to this number. I gave her our fax number, and she said, okay, I'm going to wait on the phone and let me know when you get the fax. I was like, what is happening? And mind you, I have this discipleship group that I belong to, and we were on a 3-day fast. That was the 3rd day of the fast, that morning that all this went down. So nobody can tell me that it wasn't God. It was God. So she held on, because it takes a little while for the fax to come through. The fax came through. I opened it. I looked. I even printed it out to make sure the name matched, everything matched. I was screaming on the phone. I told her, I am so grateful. You don't know. I'm so grateful. I don't know if she was a boss, because everybody else could not do it. And for some reason, this lady was able to do it that day. So I was like, thank you, thank you. I didn't even know how to say thank you. She was like, it's okay. Then she said, oh, if you need anything, just let us know. Everything correct, everything. I was like, everything is correct. I was so happy. When I got off the phone, I just went on my knees and I was just like, God, I know that this is you. Thank you so much. Because every research that I did always say, oh, you have to make sure that you sign the letter. And I now realize that I never even signed the letter. So I was so scared that they were going to return the letter and say it wasn't signed by the owner. You need to redo it. I was like, oh my God. Because every research keeps saying, oh, it takes about 30 to 90 days, for it, at least 30 days for it to come, and they have to mail it to you, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. So as soon as I got that letter, I went back to Medicaid. I put my stuff and I uploaded the right letter. And I told the lady that was handling my case in Medicare, I said, oh my God, I got the letter. I've updated everything. This is it. And that's how I was approved. And that's how my business name now matched my EIN letter. So there's more to that story, but like I said, I don't want this video to be long. So the tip for today is, if you're going to open a business, when you're picking your business name, make sure your name matches your EIN letter. Everything to the T. If you have LLC in your business name, you must have it in your EIN letter. If you have hyphen somewhere, dot somewhere, apostrophe, whatever, it has to, like a single something, nothing can miss. So be very intentional when you're picking your business name, at least in the healthcare, make sure, let's say your name is Blue Moon Health System. Make sure that your EIN letter says Blue Moon Health System. Your business name cannot be Blue Moon Health System LLC, and then your EIN letter says Blue Moon Health System. It's the same name, but for Medicare and Medicaid, that's a different business. So everything has to match. My next video, I'm going to talk about lab certification, how we got certified for lab in the mistake. I had to apply for that 3 times, but that's a different story. But today, I just wanted to talk to you guys about your business name. Make sure how to choose your business name. Make it simple, make it complicated, whatever the case may be. Just make sure that your business name matches your EIN letter, for the sake of Medicare, for the sake of the government, Medicare and Medicaid. So I hope this video helps someone on our next mistakes that I made that you should not make. We'll talk about a different scenario. Trust me, it was a lot. But finally, we overcame all of it by the blood of the Lamb. And this is the word of our testimony. And we are here to testify that the Lord is good, that everything, whatever you find yourself, you made a mistake, it's fine. God can help you through it all. Until our next video, this is Zion Health Hub. Bye.